How about this summer, we let it be defined not by how we look, but by how we lived? If you don't want to go to the beach, to the pool, because you don't want to be seen in a bathing suit, you think you can't show off your arms in a tank top, you don't want to wear shorts because you have cellulite, let's get out of all that, okay? We're going to normalize cellulite. We're going to normalize a little arm flap. It's okay. Most people have these things. It's fine. I want you to embrace your body image this summer. And I know it's a hard thing to do. I know so many of us just dread going shopping. We don't want to try on clothes, all of that stuff. Our guest today is the perfect person to help us with this. Ashley Moser is with the Renfrew Center and also the owner of Next Steps Counseling and Consulting. She is a therapist and she has worked for many, many years with her clients at the Renfrew Center who have disordered eating. She talks to us about how everybody is a summer body, everybody's a bikini body, and that we need to stop worrying so much about how we look and think more about how we want to live. So I hope that you'll enjoy this conversation with Ashley Moser. 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Colleen Odegaard. One day, I was an Emmy Award-winning television journalist, married to the love of my life, and had 2 beautiful children living under my roof. Then one day, I woke up to a life I didn't recognize. Divorced, in a career transition, with my 2 boys grown and out of the house. I had to get really comfortable being alone really fast, or I was gonna lose my shit. This podcast is about reinventing yourself in a new season of life, getting to know yourself again, and having more peace, more love, more levity. This is Wake Up to Your Life. Ashley Moser, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to talk about summer body image, but really this applies year-round. But, the reason I want to talk about this is we are in the right smack dab in the middle of summer right now, and that can bring up a lot of issues for many of us about our bodies because it's hot, we're wearing less clothing, all that kind of stuff. And then the self-criticism can take over. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, I hate how I look in these shorts. I'm not even going out. I'm not leaving the house. So we want to really empower people to make some changes when it comes to that. Yes?
Yes. Love that. Yes. Our bodies should not stop us from living our lives, period, but especially in the summer, even though the pressure is really, really on.
Mm-hmm. The pressure is on. Let's start with this before we get into some of your tips for changing it. I want to know what you think about this whole skinny talk, I think was the hashtag on TikTok, skinny TOK, and they've banned that. And it's, from what I understand, referencing the fact that the body positivity movement, some of the warriors in that movement are saying it's hard to continue with it because so many people are on GLP-1s now. And that skinniness has kind of made a resurgence, and that we're praising people for thinness. And what's happening to the body positivity movement because of that. There are a lot of even influencers who have put their bodies on display and have embraced all shapes and sizes who have started taking GLP-1s. And now they're losing weight, and people are up in arms about that. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, it's so complicated. I think when it comes to the social media bans, I'm a fan. I do think that we are inundated with enough messages already in the media that we consume that thinness is ideal, that you are better, more worthy, just an all-around better person when your body is smaller. And I think that message is prevalent and pervasive everywhere already. So if there is a place in our lives where we can decrease the frequency and intensity of those messages, I'm about it. And I think especially when we think about social media being used by impressionable youth, we know that people younger and younger are using social media. And because of this, they're getting these messages so much sooner. And it does impact their development. It does impact how they see themselves and how they go into the world as young adults and the rest of their lives, honestly. So I'm a big fan of any opportunity we can to decrease that influence one way or another. When it comes to GLP-1s, I really believe in body autonomy. I think it's our job to police our own bodies, and that is all. It is not our job to comment on other people. It's not our job to make decisions for them. It's not our job to assume that we know what is right for them. We need to empower ourselves to stay on our side of the fence, manage our own lives, our own bodies, our own feelings, and really keep to that, because it is not our job to assume that we know what's right for other people. It's not our job to assume that we know what's right for other people's bodies, and we don't know what's going on in their lives and in their doctor's offices. So body autonomy is far more important to me than anything else when it comes to this topic.
Take care of your own damn self. Stop criticizing everybody else for what they're doing. Take care of your own body. Don't worry what someone else is doing over there. Don't worry so much about it.
Exactly.
I agree. I do think it can make it hard, though, for people who have struggled with their body image and who are, and to see so many people having such great success with GLP-1 medications, it can just put people in a tough place, I think.
Yeah, agreed.
Mentally.
Agreed. I think that push and pull is always there. I think that desire to lose weight, to achieve whatever goal it is that has been promised to you on the other side of the rainbow, that pressure is always there. And I think GLP-1s have just made that conversation more present, more prevalent. And I think that push and pull feels more accessible because it is showing up in doctors' offices. It is showing up in your commercials. It is showing up in your social circles.
Okay, so let's talk about if someone chooses not to lose a pound, right? You don't have to lose a pound to start enjoying your life.
Yes.
Truly. You don't. Or have a better relationship with your body. Ashley, you say that every body is a summer body.
That is correct. Our bodies exist, and therefore they are summer bodies. The beliefs that we've been told about what a summer body is really influenced by marketing. It was a great marketing idea someone had a long time ago to tell us that our bodies need to somehow be smaller or change as a part of the summer season. And we've really bought into it in a major way, to the point that I don't think we even question it all that much anymore, which I really appreciate the fact that you do question it and allow us to talk about this, because it's been very, very normalized. But in reality, our bodies exist, and the same expectations that we have for our bodies all year round are the same ones we have for the summer. And that pressure that we feel is far more about marketing and selling products and diet industry and beauty industry and that thin ideal being promoted, and so much less about the reality of living our lives in the summer. Our bodies can still do all the things that we need them to do at any size.
Yes, to that.
Yes.
I do think we need to question that messaging. I mean, and I think the reason that we don't is it just seems so normal.
Yes.
So we just think, well, this is what it is. It's, to be attractive, I must be thin.
Correct.
To wear that dress, I have to be a certain size. I've got muffin top. I can't put on a 2-piece bathing suit.
Yeah. It feels very real and normal and expected. And so it's not our job. I think somewhere along the way, we decided that it was our job to change our bodies to not be impacted by those messages instead of question the message itself. And so that's what I love doing. Let's question the message. Let's ask ourselves, who's profiting off of this? What are they trying to sell us? And let's stop changing our bodies. Let's start changing our thoughts.
Who made those rules? Yeah, question that. Think about who made these rules that we're living by and that we think we have to be a certain size. So let's start with our thoughts and changing those things.
Yes.
You want people to get in the bathing suit this summer. So if you're the kind of person who you turn down an invitation to your friend's beach house because you think, I don't want to be seen in a bathing suit next to her because she's so thin. And this applies to men too, because
Absolutely.
I know they struggle with it as well, that they don't have the 12-pack abs, that they've got, a little extra cushion in the midsection. If you're turning down invitations, you're not going down the water slide with your kids because you don't want to be seen, you're missing out on your life.
Yes.
And making memories. So you want people to be brave, put on the bathing suit, and just go and do.
Correct. So there's a couple of different ways we can approach this. One is exactly that. You will start learning that your body can be a summer body at its current size, and that you can feel the same joy and love and excitement and connection in this body if you put on the suit and get in the water, if you go on the water slide, if you go to the barbecue, if you take the picture and you don't ruminate over it. Doing sometimes has to come first. Let's do it. Let's get out there and let's make it happen in this body. But for some people, that might feel really intensely scary, right? There's a lot of people that carry a lot with them when it comes to their beliefs about their bodies. So for me to sit here and say, just go do it anyway, it feels a little flippant, right? It feels a little like it's not taking the gravity of all this very seriously, because there is a lot of seriousness to it. So for those who feel like just getting in the suit is exactly that, like for somebody else, not for you, we can start smaller. So there are thoughts that we have that are called automatic thoughts. They are judgmental, they are critical, and they tend to be about our bodies in a lot of times, but they tend to be very focused on ourselves. And so these thoughts are influenced by all the things we've talked about, right? The social media piece, the messaging around body image that we've been told. Sometimes it's voices from our family that we've actually experienced, or our lived experiences with our body and being told messages or being given negative comments. That lives within us. We carry that with us, and it influences how we then interpret our bodies. So when we look at a picture, instead of saying, wow, look how much fun I was having, or, oh, that was such a great memory, we focus right on that area of our body that we don't like. And our thoughts become very judgmental, critical, and before you know it, you're having a huge emotional experience about your body. And it becomes about so much more. And that desire for weight loss, that desire to call up the doctor, the desire to start that next diet becomes very focused and feels like the answer. So I would encourage folks that if you feel like you can't get in the bathing suit just yet, let's start having a different thought process. So the cool thing about thoughts is that we can change them. They are not permanent. They are not fixed. They are not forever. So what we need to do is when we have those judgmental, critical thoughts, we don't need to be mean to ourselves about them, right? Like they make sense. They're coming from a place of lived experience most of the time. Mm-hmm. So they're happening. What we need to do, instead of tell ourselves, don't think that, that's not the right way to think, what we need to do is say, yeah, there's that thought again. It makes sense. And I want us to then add in a more compassionate thought. You may not believe it yet, and it may seem like you're lying to yourself at first. I promise you it won't forever. But let's add in a more compassionate thought. So we may have that critical, judgmental thought. Don't be mad at it. Acknowledge that it's there. Say, okay, I get you. You're here. And then let's add in something more compassionate that could be about our body in a different way. I know a lot of people try to look at their body and look at the function. What does that body part do for me? So instead of focusing on why it's too big or it's too lumpy or it's too whatever, let's focus on what it actually does for you. A lot of the times our bodies are more about what they do than how they look. And again, another one of those things we've forgotten along the way. So that's a way that we can start. If jumping in the suit and jumping in the water is too much, let's just start noticing those automatic thoughts and try adding in some compassionate ones.
An example of a compassionate thought, again, besides focusing on what that body part does, can you give an example? Like if you're working with some of your clients,
yes,
and they can't even come up with the words to say, they don't even know what that looks like, what would you suggest?
Yeah, that body is here. It's present. It's making memories. Sometimes we just start with facts, neutral, fact-based information. And sometimes that might not feel like enough. The critical piece feels more real. It feels more like the truth, because the more you think a thought, the more real you believe it is. So adding in these other thoughts where you're just describing from a place of neutrality and fact, that would be what I would encourage. So instead of talking about how you see your body and describing its shape and size, I would look at your body and describe it in very fact-based situations. Like you were on a podcast and having to describe your physical self to someone and they couldn't actually see you. Instead of using adjectives and descriptors, let's just talk about the facts. I'm 5'8". My hair is brown. Well, blonde some days, depending. So we can add in some fact-based things that can help us work on focusing on what our body's really about, which is just kind of this compilation of things that helps us live our lives, and less about the criticism and the size and the shape, which really is not the most important part of who we are.
Not at all. And I promise listeners and viewers on YouTube, this really does work.
It does.
I know that it works. It takes a certain discipline to be able to catch those thoughts and to make the decision to try something different.
Yes.
You have to be incredibly intentional doing this on purpose. Don't succumb to the thing that you always do, the habitual beat down of yourself. Oh my gosh, I look disgusting. I'm so fat. I look gross. Oh my God, I don't want anyone to see me. That's not going to empower you to make the memories you want to make this summer or experience the things that you want to experience. So something more compassionate. And I do like the neutral comment, because it won't work to change the thought to, I'm smoking hot. Because you won't believe it. If you
It's too far.
It's too far of a jump.
Yes.
So it's just, I have a body. Mm-hmm. This is a body. This is the body present. Mm-hmm. I know it's not exciting, but it does kind of get you more in a neutral place instead of being mean to yourself.
Exactly. Because I think there is this, misguided belief that by being critical or mean to ourselves, that we're going to motivate ourselves to change that. And in reality, all of the research out there goes to show that motivation based on shame and guilt and negativity just worsens and maintains the behavior you're trying to change in the first place. So I think it's so important that we remember that being mean to ourselves is not going to help you change whatever it is you're trying to change. Being compassionate, being loving, being neutral, that is where change comes from.
I just talked about this on a recent podcast, that we can't bully ourselves into change. It doesn't work. Maybe for a moment, but it doesn't last. Self-compassion works so much better than that inner critic calling the shots.
Yes.
You really need that self-compassion piece.
You do.
Okay, so if the thought of getting in the suit is too terrifying, seems like too much of a stretch for you, work with your thoughts. Notice what they are. Try something more compassionate. You also like people to get in the picture. And because so many of us won't, I don't want to be in the picture. I look gross. I don't want to be in the picture.
Yes.
You're saying, get in the picture.
Yes.
So that you have these memories to look back on.
Exactly, because that's what pictures are actually about.
That's what pictures are about. And, regardless, like you may think pictures are about posting and getting all the likes. That's not what the pictures are for. They're for you to capture those memories.
Correct. I mean, I even saw someone recently, we were out to dinner, that had a shoebox of pictures that they had just brought back from their grandparents' house, and they were going through all of the pictures. And I was like, yes, pictures. That's what those are about, right? So watching this, I believe it was a grandchild going through, like an adult person that's a grandchild going through these pictures of their grandparents, their parents, their cousins, and to see how they were so connected to that and the relationships. It was like, oh yeah, remember, that's what pictures are supposed to be about. And I know we've digitized everything and we've put everything online for other people to see. So I think it's lost its meaning somewhere along the line. So I can't tell you the number of therapy sessions I have every week about getting in the picture, because getting in the picture is so terrifying. It's one thing to get in. It's another thing to have it posted. It's another thing to have control over the contouring and the filters and the editing, because everyone's trying to put forward this curated version of themselves, the one that is going to be the most accepted, loved, included, get a sense of belonging. And we're trying to achieve that through modifying who we are to fit these ideals. And we're getting lost. We're so focused on acceptance and liking and changing ourselves in order to get those things that we're missing opportunities for people to just connect with us and love us for who we are, where we're at.
That's so true. So what advice do you have for people who are in that place when they're constantly focused on, I need to change to be okay, to be liked, to be worthy, to make friends, to land a date, to get the job. I need to be different than what I am. No, like start practicing being yourself and connecting with people. And when you realize that people do like you for who you are and as you are, that begins to help. But how do you get there, though?
It's tricky because, again, like you said, there are multiple areas in life that you just listed that help us feel like they're more achievable when we are the thinnest, best versions of ourselves, the most attractive, the most desirable. So it's everywhere. But I think to start working backwards from that, I think it's really important to get off the hamster wheel of trying to change yourself, even if you just do it for a short period of time. What if you don't focus on changing your body to achieve whatever outcome you want, that date, that job, the likes, and see if you can have more bandwidth. If you are not doing all of those things to change yourself, your connection with other people may be more present, maybe more real, may actually feel better than it does when you are so preoccupied. And of course, I talk about this a lot when it comes to body image. When people are super preoccupied with trying to change their weight, they are not connecting with other people because they are counting calories in their head. They're thinking about the meal before and the meal after. They're thinking about, what's going to come next, and they are not present. And when you're talking to people who aren't present, right? You feel it. You don't feel like their energy is with you. It feels a little void, a little empty. And so by trying to change our bodies through any of those mechanisms, you're actually making what you don't want to have happen, right? So you're more distant. People are having a hard time connecting with you. And then here we go again. See, look at the connection's not there. I don't feel present, but it's not because of you. It's actually because of the mechanism that you're using to try to change yourself to get people to like you. Yeah, so if you can take a step out of that for a minute, I think you'll see that being present and being yourself while uncomfortable will actually help you achieve the things that you want far quicker than changing your body.
Yeah, instead of sitting there at the dinner table, you're having dinner with friends and you're thinking, oh my gosh, she's so skinny. And I better, I'm not going to eat that because look at her. I'm a pig. I'm gross. You're in that thought loop, you can't be present to have conversation with your friends and learn about what's going on in their lives, and you become kind of self-obsessed.
It can happen that way. And I think people around you pick up on that.
Totally. And you're right, to your point, Ashley, that people feel that you're not there, that you're not present, you're not really paying attention, you're not really listening.
Yes. And you're not doing it purposefully, right? You're just consumed, you're obsessed, or you think that these things are going to be the way to get what you want in life. And so why wouldn't you put all your energy and your time there? But I'm here to tell you that I've watched so many people get off that merry-go-round. I've watched so many people stop doing the behaviors that disconnect them from others and get it back into their lives, that they find that, wow, I can have healthy relationships that I didn't think I could, whether it's romantic or otherwise. And wow, like I'm actually doing a lot better at my job now that I'm not so focused on controlling my body and managing what I'm eating and thinking about all of those parts as part of my work day. So I've watched it happen. I've seen it. I've seen people get what they want without having to change themselves, especially when it comes to their bodies.
Are you talking about the patients you've worked with who have disordered eating in particular?
Yes. Body image and disordered eating obviously go hand in hand in a lot of ways. Many people who have body image distress manage that distress by managing their intake, right? So there's lots of different behaviors that you can use. There's exercise, there's restriction, there's binging, there's purging, there's, the list goes on and on. But the thought process behind a lot of those behaviors is that if I can make my body change, I will no longer feel bad about my body. So here, of course, I'll use these behaviors and that will solve the problem. Very logical, makes sense on paper. But no, it doesn't end up making sense in the long term. We end up with people who are stuck in those cycles and having really unfulfilling lives. And so that's when they come to me, that's when they come to Renfrew, that's when they come to other local Charlotte professionals seeking help with that, because not only are they stuck in these loops, but their lives just aren't what they thought they were going to be.
For so long, I was always trying to lose 10 pounds, always. I mean, my mother, you talk about the voices of other people, my mother would say, you look better, you lose 10 pounds, you look better. I have heard that forever, that I'd look better if I lost 10 pounds. I remember any person who ever said anything about my body that felt, I remember it's seared into my brain. I had another woman when I was living in California, and I was on a TV show there, and they did my wardrobe. And I remember going in there, and we'd be picking out clothes for me, and she said, well, I don't know if these are going to fit. You've got thighs. And I remember it so well, and I just felt this, I could feel myself getting red and I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry. It felt so mean. Like, why are you talking about my thighs? I thought we were friends and picking out fun clothes for the TV show. I didn't know it was going to be like this. And everybody has a story like that, I think.
Yes. Yes. No, our fifth grade gym class, when they weigh you and do your height at the beginning of the year and end of the year. And well, that was my year for puberty. And it was, you've gained 20 pounds this year. And I remember being horrified. I could tell you what the gym looked like. I could tell you what the room smelled like. Everyone has those memories. And gosh, fifth grade, 11?
Yeah.
And to think about children, and here I am 40 telling this story so many years later. But I think everyone has those stories. Everyone has those moments when they learned that there was something wrong about their body changing or their body getting bigger. And a lot of the times our bodies are just supposed to get bigger. They're supposed to change as we get older. It's a natural part of the human experience. We're not born believing that there's something wrong with us for having that happen. We learn that. And so when we talk about the thoughts and trying to change those, it's the process of unlearning it.
I was just going to say, it's the unlearning of these messages that are coming at us full speed ahead, millions of times a day, every day. I mean, we can't avoid them, but we can challenge them with some diligence on our part and some attention to it.
Yes, it is possible. And I mean, I'm so thankful I got into this field, because I can't tell you where I'd be if I didn't. I'm so glad I stumbled upon working in eating disorders and working in body image, because I do think it's made me personally a much happier, healthier, content person going through life stages, now raising children who have bodies as well. It's going to be very different because of that. And I that's why it's so helpful to be able to have these conversations and to be able to have opportunities like this, because I'm thankful I fell into this niche, specialty career. Many people do not. Many people, are just only hearing the messages that are telling them there's something wrong with them and they need to change it. So I really appreciate opportunities to be able to say something different, because I'm really thankful I got to hear those messages myself.
Yes, well, I love this topic because I don't know anybody who doesn't struggle to some degree with their body. I mean, you think, thin, beautiful, athletic, strong friends who don't like their bodies and call themselves fat. And I don't get it. And I would look at them when I was bigger than them. I'm like, well, you think you're fat? What are you saying about me? Like, I just think so much talk about our bodies all the time is not helpful.
No.
It just change. I just don't like it. And the comparing that happens and calling ourselves names. Can we go back to what you said about people having this idea that when they get to desired weight, when they are in a size 4, when they have, lost the last 10 pounds, then everything's going to be great.
Yes.
People really think this is true. A lot of times.
100%.
Yes. And you've seen this happen
over and over.
And then people get there and they're like, oh, wait a minute. It's not so great, necessarily so great.
No. Their bodies are smaller, but most of the time that's all that's really changed. Because when you focus on that, it is all consuming. I mean, anyone who's been on a restrictive diet can tell you that in order to maintain the restriction, you can't really focus on much else. And so the only thing that changes is your body size. But if you're unhappy with your job, if you're unhappy in your relationships, if you're unhappy with yourself, that does not change because you are smaller. And there are a lot of people who believe that if I just lost those 10 pounds, I'll finally have the confidence and then I'll be able to date and then I'll be able to apply for that job. And I am here to tell you that if thinness equated to the life that you wanted, I wouldn't be talking about this and I wouldn't have a caseload with a wait list.
Right.
So
right.
The promises of, life being better when you're smaller are just not true.
Not true.
And are very much created by the diet industry because you are actually more statistically likely to develop an eating disorder when you diet than to actually have sustainable weight loss. 35% of people who diet go on to develop an eating disorder, and less than 5% of those who diet have long-term sustainable weight loss. So you are statistically more likely to have an eating disorder when you diet than anything else.
Okay.
So for those thinking about starting a diet, I would highly encourage you to think again. And maybe let's start working on some of those automatic thoughts. Let's get in the bathing suit. Let's get in the picture and get into your life, right?
Get into your life. That's what I want. I don't want people to wait. I will ask people to come on this podcast or on the TV show that I host in Charlotte, North Carolina, and they say, "Oh, I have to lose weight first."
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
No, come now.
Yes.
Your expertise needs to be shared. Come now. Don't wait to lose the weight. Well, and what if it doesn't happen? And then you never did the cool thing or had the neat experience or shared your wisdom with people.
Exactly.
That's what I don't like seeing happen. But I'm going to say something to you. And I wonder where you land on this.
Yes.
And this feels a little personal and vulnerable to talk about. But because I love what you're saying. And I don't want people to beat themselves up about the size of their bodies.
Yes.
And I don't want people to keep themselves from living the lives they want to live because of the size of their bodies.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I did go through a period of weight gain after my marriage fell apart. And I gained a lot of weight. And I have recently lost the weight. It was a lot of weight. I don't even want to say how much it is because people can be like, oh my God. Like I don't even like to say it.
Yeah.
But I lost a lot of weight. And I will tell you something, I do feel better. So by saying that, am I contributing to the problem? Because I want people to accept themselves at the size they are.
Yes.
But I know I do feel better in my body with 40 pounds off of it.
Sure. I understand that. The therapist in me wants to ask you so many more questions.
Go ahead, ask me. Go ahead, therapist Ashley. Put your therapist hat. Ask
let me
away.
switch hats for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
In feeling better in your body, tell me more about that. What makes you feel happier?
I feel like better when I'm moving around.
That's real.
Yeah, I feel better when I'm moving around. Just I have more energy. I'm faster when I run. I like the way that feels.
So we're talking about mobility.
Yes.
We're talking about functionality. We're talking about how your body feels when you're living your life. And that feels better.
Yes.
Okay.
On the superficial level,
Yes.
I do like shopping for clothes better now. I do.
Yeah.
And again, I'm wanting to help this, not make things worse, but I'm just telling, because I really go through
Yes.
what you've talked about.
I think it's beautiful that you're putting that out there because I think it's important to talk about that when you are someone who is in the public eye and bless the career you've had with it being so visible. That it
People
makes
would email and say terrible things like, are you going to lose the baby after I was pregnant? I hope you lose the baby weight. If you don't, I'm not going to be able to watch anymore. I had someone else say something to me about when I had gained weight. I mean, people would send emails or write it on social media. It was terrible, which added to the neuroses I had
Correct.
about my body.
How did you not internalize that? You had no way. Of course you internalized
I did.
So when you went through your own personal experience with weight loss, of course it felt better. You have been inundated with messages for decades. You starting from your mom all the way up to your career and present that you are better when you are smaller. So you feel better when you're smaller because you've internalized the messages that you've been told for years. And you have had more of those messages, disproportionate of those messages than normal everyday folks.
Why am I crying? That makes me cry.
Because it's real and it's sad. No one should have ever talked to you that way. No one should have ever looked at you and talked about your body and not the words that were coming out of your mouth and the important things you were saying. But that was what people took away. Yeah. And so when you lost those 40 pounds, it was about shedding probably a lot of the experiences that you had going through a divorce, like an incredible traumatic experience, I imagine. And then it's also shedding a lot of the things that you probably experienced as a part of your career. And so you've internalized so many messages that you're better when you're smaller. No wonder going and picking up a size small feels so much better than it did when you picked up a size medium or large.
When I'm still the same person, like on the inside.
Of
Even
course.
after I lost the weight, I had no idea we were going to go this way. I don't know how we got here, but I'm here for it.
Yeah.
When people who haven't seen me for a while see me.
Yeah.
And they make a very big deal about, oh, thank you, producer Kristen brought me tissues. Thank you.
That's normally my job. I have a mic in my way.
And go on and on. You're so tiny. And oh my God, how'd you do it? And probably not in the best way. I mean, it was very restrictive. I was really, but like I said, I do feel physically better.
Of course.
I do feel physically better.
And those things are true. And I cannot sit here and tell anyone that being in a body that feels like it can move more easily, that mobility and agility, and especially in the summer heat, chafing, like that is real. And having those experiences go away when your body is smaller does feel better. I can't sit here and talk people out of that and say, get in the suit and just pretend that's not real.
Right.
So those things do feel better. But you're right. Like the emotional process that you've been through to be in the body that you're in now, when people are complimenting it, they have no idea what they're complimenting. They don't know that they're complimenting restriction. They don't know that they're complimenting like extreme life-changing events. They don't know what they're talking about, which is why we need to stay on our side of the fence. Even for like public personalities, because you are a person and you shouldn't be talked about your body in the way that you have, because that internalization would lead to exactly where you are now. It makes so much sense.
And again, like you said, because I'm turning this into a personal therapy session. Sorry, listeners, but that I got the message that me being smaller was better.
Yes.
Me being smaller
and over
yeah.
and over and over.
We all get that message. But,
Correct.
But that could be a reason why it feels so good to me.
Because you're finally there.
Huh.
We internalize this stuff in a real way. Because I work with people all the time that are like, it's not just society. I think this. I think that I am better when I am smaller. And again, there's a lot of reasons to that. We've internalized these messages. We've soaked them up like sponges. They've come from the most important people in our lives: moms, dads, grandparents, teachers, gym teachers, 5th grade. Those messages are coming from really important figures for us, and we've been taught them very early on. And so we've internalized this. So it's not just society we're fighting back against our own internalization of this stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Because when you look at it, if you've lost weight but if you look at who you were before that too, just the general essence of you, like your characteristics, your values, have those changed? I mean, they're probably not. They're probably the same.
Correct.
I
think being smaller feels safer for a lot of people, and they're a lot more willing to take risks and put themselves out there or back out there if it's, a recent weight loss, because it's not as scary to live life in a smaller body, because smaller bodies are celebrated, smaller bodies are accepted and reinforced. So there is a safety that comes with that. And so I think when people tell me, I feel so much better, and I'm out living my life now. And I'm like, yeah, that makes a ton of sense, because it's a lot safer to think that people are going to celebrate you and welcome you versus risk the possibility that people could exclude you or reject you based on their own internalized weight stigma and beliefs that they have around size.
Okay, so for folks who want to feel better now about the body that they're in without changing anything, without losing a pound, again, it comes back to challenging the thoughts, focusing more on what your body can do as opposed to what it looks like.
Correct. And the biggest piece about that is, how is the life that you're living consistent with your values? I ask that a lot. Like, if you're to look back at this time in your life, how are you going to feel about how you lived it? If you were sitting by the pool with the oversized shirt on and afraid to get in the water, how are you going to feel about that a few years from now? Is that in line with the kind of person you want to be, the example you want to set for the people around you? Yeah, it's how can we get out of this cycle that feels never ending, that it's more about how you look and less about how you live. And there are ways to do it. It's not easy. It's hard work. And we're all out there fighting it.
Yeah.
Even us in the field, we're fighting it too, right along with you. But it's a fight worth having, because there's a lot of life. There's a lot of joy and pleasure and connection on the other side of body image stuff.
Well, you start to realize when it takes up so much space in your brain rent-free, there's not room for other cool stuff to happen.
No.
For you to daydream or, think of a cool thing that you want to create or do or make or, and it's your mind, you're just so obsessed with it and it's awful. And the other thing I'll say about, going to the pool, going to the beach, getting in the suit, like nobody's really looking at you the way you think they are. No one's going to say, do you remember 2 years ago when we were at the pool and we saw that woman? And no one is thinking that. No one cares.
No, I think everyone, like you said, regardless of gender, regardless of age, I think there's so many people who are so worried about the exact same thing that everyone's so caught up in how their bodies look and feel that no one's thinking about anyone else's. And if anything, you getting out there in a average, normal person body is giving someone else courage to do it too.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe they take their cover off next time they go to the beach because they saw your body out there in cellulite with stretch marks, chafing and sweating. Like, let's do it. Like, we can inspire other people to do it too. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to feel uncomfortable in the process, that you're not going to wish your body was different in that very moment. But that's how we start doing it. We do it, we change the thoughts, and we acknowledge all of the emotions that are connected to this, which I very much appreciate you doing today too.
It really just welled up in me as you were talking. I thought, oh my God, I'm still carrying this around, and
yeah.
I've lost the weight. I'm still carrying it around,
Well said.
I was always on the smaller side, a smaller person, and then did have some disordered eating. Would binge eat, and that started when I was 12 years old, probably, growing up with those crazies who were raising me, and it really started then and continued in times of extreme distress, which makes sense why I gained weight after my marriage fell apart.
Absolutely.
And I was hibernating and didn't want to see anybody, didn't want to talk to anybody, and would eat. That's what I would do.
And the overlap between, I think, relationship status and eating disorders and body image, we could have a whole nother conversation on that, because that is so true. I think that people idealize thinness in the same way that they idealize marriage and partnership and being in a committed relationship. And so people who are in larger bodies are deemed as less than because of their body size. And I think people who are not in committed romantic relationships are somehow deemed as less than. And then you throw the two of those together, and it is a breeding ground for self-criticism and, honestly, unhelpful relationship with food and body. The overlap between those two just never ceases to amaze me.
I think, Ashley, letting people know that whatever body you're in, whatever your relationship, your romantic relationship status is, you're great. Damn, you're worthy. You're awesome. Exactly as you are right now.
Exactly. That these things are a part of life, and there are so many messages out there about them, but just like we're questioning the ones around body image, we can question them around relationship status too. People are just as worthy and valuable and living productive, exciting, fulfilling lives, whether they're coupled or not.
Amen to that. I was stuck in that. I mean, I had been married for so long, it felt embarrassing, almost shameful to say that I'm single. Every time I have to fill out a form and it asks like, what, relationship status, are you single, married, divorced, widowed, I hate answering that question. I hate it. Like, you got to remind me, yes, I'm divorced. I never thought I would be, and I'm divorced. But, but I did carry a lot of shame about that. And it was hard for me. I did sort of feel less than. Even, well, these couple friends I have, will they still invite me to go out and do things with them? Oh, I'm not coupled up, so I'm going to be, the third wheel, the odd person out or whatever.
And we've been told that there's something wrong with that, right? Mm-hmm. That if someone who is the third wheel or someone who isn't part of a couple, that there's this belief that there's something wrong with them too. So not only if your body is too large, there's something wrong with you, but then if you're also not in a romantic relationship, there's obviously something wrong with you because you have to be, loved by someone else in order to somehow be a valuable person. So there's, you get it from both sides.
Yeah. Even as you say it out loud, I can hear how preposterous it is. Like, obviously that's not true.
But again, these messages.
Yeah. And how real it feels when you're going through that. So again, what is it that you'd really like for people to take away from this conversation? What are some of the highlights or the things you want people to walk away with? If they remember nothing else,
yes,
remember these things.
Yes. There's so much to try to do. Well, I think the biggest piece is that, body image distress is experienced by everyone and everybody, regardless of the season. It's going to feel more intense right now. If you're listening to this in the summer heat, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it doesn't have to. These are messages that we can push back against that are really ingrained in today's society, but aren't actually true. If they're stopping you from living your life, you don't have to stop living until your body is changing. You don't have to wait until you've lost weight in order to have the life that you want, that the magical, end of the rainbow is not actually so magical after all. So let's try to push back against this. And if you feel like you can take that step of pushing yourself to get in the suit, to get in those pictures, to try things in life that you've been holding back from because of your body, let's do it. Let's do it now. Don't think about it too much. Let's get in there and try it this summer, this weekend.
Because what's great when people go try that and do it and they see that nothing bad happened. You didn't die.
Right.
People weren't staring at you or pointing or laughing at you. None of that happened. It might have felt uncomfortable to you because you're up in your head and you're self-conscious, but awesome that you did it.
Correct.
Awesome that you did it. And then you realize nothing bad happened. Oh my gosh, that was actually kind of fun. I'm going to do it again.
Exactly. Yep. And you may be inspiring the person next to you that you don't even know. And then I think if you're not there yet and you're like, that is just not accessible for me at this point, let's just start acknowledging those thoughts when they are that internalized belief that you have about your weight and your life being less valuable or purposeful or worthy in the size that you are. Catch those. They're probably everywhere. So we want to, take some time to catch those. And instead of telling yourself not to think those thoughts, let's add in something more compassionate, that's neutral, that's fact-based, that may not be as, it doesn't feel as true because you haven't thought it all the time. But the more you pair those thoughts together, the compassionate ones will start to feel true too.
Mm-hmm. Again, I'm crying because I think about, when I was on TV and when I did gain some weight at one point and if people did say something to me or that I really didn't feel like I was okay. I really didn't believe it.
Of course.
I was faking my way through it. And it was so awful. And just to look back and go, no, baby girl, you were always just right. You were just, you were struggling with some things. And that's okay. I get it. You went through a hard time. But to completely demean myself and think that I don't deserve to have these good things in my life because my pants are a little tight, that's nuts. And I don't want anyone living with that anymore. I want everybody to do this work. And I think it's an ongoing thing, right? It's like forever and ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It is. It's ongoing. Our bodies change. Our feelings about them change. And if you ever notice, like some days are harder than others, it's very much linked to our emotions. So when you're going through something tough, like you were saying, your body image is going to feel harder. When life is a little bit easy breezy, body image is going to feel a little easy breezy. And that just goes to show how much our body image isn't just about our actual body. Sometimes it is about the feelings that we project onto it. Yeah. And so I think that's another really important point to make too, that it's okay to acknowledge that if your body changes or if you feel differently about your body, it's probably you going through a hard time. And sometimes putting it on our body feels like a place where we can do something about it. But let's not get on that merry-go-round because the happiness you're looking for isn't on the other side of the rainbow. It can be right here.
It can really be right here, right now. Oh, don't wait for it. Go and do all this work. Ashley, you're amazing. We'll put links to get in touch with Ashley in our show notes, the website and your social media and all of that. But you are so wonderful. Thank you so much. Anything else you'd like to say that I didn't ask you?
Yeah, I just thank you. I really appreciate this conversation and your vulnerability. I think talking about body image after you've made and had some physical changes is really, really admirable, and not everyone would do it. And so thank you for that.
Oh, thanks for saying that. I appreciate it. It's not my favorite topic. Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's a really tough one. So that's
not
why
my favorite topic.
I feel the
I just
need
want to fly under the radar with that, you know.
But I really feel the need to commend you on that, because very few people have the courage to talk about body changes and the personal things that you are. And so thank you. I think there's a lot of people out there listening that are going to very much relate to this.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wake Up to Your Life podcast. I love connecting with you, so reach out to me on Instagram at Colleen_Odegaard. My podcast is also on YouTube now, so you can leave a comment on the podcast episode and tell me what resonated with you. You can subscribe to my channel at the link in our show notes. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next episode.